So please give her a warm welcome. Thank you, Madam Chua, for being here today.
Welcome to Singapore.
Of us, when the media reported that, oh, the president granted clemency, and you know, some of the reports tell you about families who are so grateful to the president, all of them are wrong. All of them are wrong, because it is not the president who has been granting all these clemencies, it is the cabinet. The very same cabinet that wants to kill 18-year-old, 19-year-old boys and girls for drug trafficking. Does it make sense to you? A cabinet, a legislature that constructs the Misuse of Drugs Act such that there's a whole host of presumptions, okay? At the end of which, if you are found guilty, you die. Full stop. You don't get 20 years, you don't get life imprisonment, you don't get all that. You die. And it is the same people who constructed this law that now has the final say on clemency. Like I said several times before, it just makes no example in the National Library archives, and you read up past press reports. It is quite clear to an ordinary citizen, to an ordinary reader, that the power actually lies with the president. But if you go back now and after Justice Stephen Chong's judgment, if you go back now and read all these reports, they make no sense to you. I've read some of them, you know, and it makes no sense if the power lies with the cabinet, right? For example, President Wee Kim Wee has pardoned 3 people, and he has been held up as the people's president. People have written to him to thank him personally for granting the clemencies. But now we know that it's all not true. He didn't do anything at all.
Now, of course, I would like to again thank Dato' Chua Soon Bui from the constituency of Tawau from Sabah, who have taken such a bold and keen interest in Yong's case. Not to forget the fact that Yong comes from the place of Sandakan in Sabah. And since I have gone to Sabah, and there was a nationwide campaign in Sabah in 3 days, and the good news is that she comes with 43,000 petitions, not online petitions, but street petitions. This is the highest record-breaking petitions in the history of Malaysia. I mean, we are talking about just East Malaysia. And Chawing comes with 27,000 petitions from West Malaysia. Together with the online petitions and all that, I understand that it is 92,000, is it? We have 92,000 petitions from Malaysia. The thing is that, despite the fact that the courts have said that it is the cabinet that makes the ultimate decision, where do we actually send this 92,000 petitions? It is the president. Now the next question then would be, where in the law does it say that all the 92,000 petitions are going to be considered by the cabinet? Is there a procedure laid out that the president has to actually send, or courier for that matter, send it to the cabinet, for cabinet to look at all these petitions? Is there a procedure? There is no procedure at all. That is not in the Constitution. What is in the Constitution is this: the president will cause the reports of the Attorney General to be sent to the cabinet. The president, look at Article 22 of the Constitution, the president will cause the reports to be sent to cabinet. Why must the president, it seems to be the person there directing all these things sent? The law minister compared, he says Malaysia, Singapore and UK. He went and commented and said that Singapore system is compared to UK, Australia and Malaysia. Does UK and Australia have death penalty? No. Don't compare apples to orange here. You know, you have to compare apple to apple. England is where the examples that they are drawing from. The Queen of England had devolved the powers to the Home Secretary, to the cashier. In Malaysia, who has the ultimate discretion? The Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia. Who decides the pardon process? Pardon board. Pardon board, and pardon board interviews, isn't it? Yeah, they interview the convicts. Look at how an appropriate thing that Malaysia has already come out with. I'm not trying to create confusion here. Okay, some people will say this is how it should be, but this is not what in Singapore is. Maybe Malaysia, should have this. But that's not the point here. Of course, Malaysia has a better system. Now, why I'm saying this, why the president is understood to have this as a constitutional doctrine, like even what Mr. Walter Woon says, aside from the constitution, the spirit of the constitution is not just the words may and all that, but it's also how the tradition, the role of the president is taken. No, here we are talking about clemency powers of the president. Why even call it power when you don't even have, you say the president has no discretion. Why even use the word power? It's understood, but if you have no discretion, you won't even talk about powers in the first place. Presidential clemency powers, and then no powers. What is that? Okay? Now, not a single clemency in the last 11 years. And we also hear from Mr. Shanmugam and also the courts that, oh, it's the government's hardline policy. Precisely the reason why cabinet and politicians cannot decide clemency process, because your decisions are influenced by policy and not mercy. Because you come there, you say it's a hardline policy, I sit down here, you take the clemency petition, and what do you decide? Die. Even before clemency petition presented already, he says die. That is why we have rushed to the court. My dear friends, lives are at stake here. It is not a simple matter. The president's scepter, I would say, scepter of authority, we will ask the president very humbly in this petition, as you would have seen, to petition the president. What you are doing today is to petition the president under Article 100 of the Constitution to convene a constitutional court. Why is it important? Because it is an issue of importance, of public importance. It is an issue of importance because it is the president's powers have been taken away by the courts, declared by the courts, and cabinet has usurped those powers. And long way gone, the elected president, when he convenes a constitutional court, he uses the state's resources. He has immense amount of resource. And you have best experts in the world to come before the Constitutional Tribunal to deliberate. The president, 11 years, this has happened. And now we know this has come out in the open. So it's important that the president convenes a constitutional court and you tell him.
It's quite scary how our rights are being taken away from us. And I just felt that, the more people, Gandhi once said that if a man is in the minority of one and yet he's right, that can build on it, he can build on it. So I think the more people that come here and show the country that there's no reason to be afraid, that the government can't put 80, 90, 100 people in jail, and that it is up to us to decide what we want of our leaders rather than for our leaders to tell us what they want of us.
Ravi is right that when you have this system, a very drastic system which places a lot of trust on the establishment, and you deprive